Hello, welcome fellow book lovers. We all know why we're here, so let's just get started. Based off the title of the video, you know we're tier ranking every single book that I read in March and April. Now, is tier ranking even still cool? No idea, but I'm gonna do it anyway. We all know why we're here, so let's just get on started with tier ranking every single book I read in March and April. The tier rankings have nothing to do with the actual ratings that I gave the books, which I'll also give you when I'm going through them. I don't know if I'm gonna do like a full-on explanation of the books, just because, I don't know. I don't know. Anyways, let me start my screen recording. Also, if you hear Michael speaking downstairs, he's speaking. Obviously. For some reason, it will not let me change the title of the tier ranking list. I don't know why. As we all know, I am tier ranking every single book that I read in March and April, as I've said 6 times. Here are the rankings. Here are the options that I gave myself. First one, top tier, literally cannot shut up about it. Cannot shut up about it. And I feel like that's accurate, because if I literally cannot shut up about a book, I just cannot shut up about it. So I feel like that's very fitting as the top tier ranking. Next, we've got enjoyed my time. Meaning, I very much enjoyed my time while reading this. Can I shut up about it? Yeah. Like, will I talk about it a lot? Probably. Next up, we have liked but didn't love. Very self-explanatory, obviously. You know, I liked it. I enjoyed it. Did I love it? No. Next thing. Actually forgot I read this. And then lastly, we have actually so disappointing. And y'all are gonna be so surprised. The book that I made this specific one for goes here, okay? You're gonna be very, very shocked, I think. But anyways, since we got through that, let's just get on started. First one we have is called Before the Storm by Maria Fuego? I do not remember her last name. This one, straight up, just forgot I read this. Could I tell you anything about it? No. The only thing I think I could tell you was that she is a doctor. Next up, we have The Light Keepers. Now, this is for a video that you still haven't seen yet, so be on the lookout for the video. I'm gonna put it at like but didn't love. Oh wait, I forgot to tell you. Before the Storm, I think I rated this one 3 stars. Yes, I gave it 3 stars, and I remember enjoying it while reading it, but I genuinely forgot that I read this book. The Light Keepers. This is a Tangled retelling. The story, the plot line, everything about it, it is literally to a T the exact plot line of Tangled, like in every way, shape, and form. The storyline of like the girl who is, you know, essentially Rapunzel is a lot darker than like I thought it was gonna be. But I did like the 2 main characters. They were in high school, very cute. The main character Ryder was very Flynn Rider-esque, very Flynn Rider-esque. There was also a little plot twist at the end with his character that I was like not expecting, which I guess when I like think back on it kind of made sense. Very interesting plot twist though that she brought in. I think this was by Kennedy Plum, I don't remember. This one again, I rated 3 stars. I was in a very much a Tangled mood. Yeah, I liked it, but obviously didn't love it. Fighting Fate. This I've received as an ARC. I do not know actually where I want to put this because it's really weird. So this one was very much like weird. I don't want to call it cringy, but it kind of was cringy. Like the characters were cringy. Some of the things didn't make sense within like the friendship and the dynamic of the 2 main characters. Like the main guy and the main girl are said to be best friends. But I'm like, this would have worked a little bit better if it was a brother's best friend. Because like, it was like weird that they were best friends. And it also didn't give best friends, you know, like best friends to lovers, you know. It didn't give that to me. I'll put liked but didn't love because I liked it. Enjoying my time reading it is definitely a little bit like, oh yeah, I definitely enjoyed it a lot more and I would definitely talk about and recommend to people. I liked this one but didn't love. Like, I don't think I would recommend this book to other people. Like, I wouldn't even think about this book. Like, did I forget that I read it? Yes and no. It was just very weird. Anyways, I gave this book in general just a 3 stars. Next up, we have Sideline Love by Emery Page. I actually very much enjoyed my time reading this. But it's like a mix between liked but didn't love. Because honestly, I haven't thought about this book. I think I'm gonna put it here. Liked but didn't love. Because I honestly haven't thought about this book since I read it. Things though I did really like about this book, that the book wasn't just entirely like consumed with the tropes that were in it. They were all almost like, I want to say like mini or micro tropes almost, because it definitely was more of like revolved around the characters as people and their growth together rather than this trope that they're going to be like stuck in, essentially. And this is a hockey romance, and we all know I love me a hockey romance, okay? So I did really like that one. I ended up rating this one a 3.75 stars. Like I said, I really liked it, and I would definitely recommend, because this is a like college hockey romance, and a lot of the reviews actually, people were like raving and loving, which I totally understand, because the book I did really like. I think this is like her debut novel. She's an indie author. I thought it was very good for her debut novel. Kind of excited to see where else she goes with it. Anyways, moving on. The Stolen Heir. Actually so disappointing. I don't know what it was about this. I absolutely love the Cruel Prince trilogy, okay? I absolutely loved it. I feel like maybe I just put this one on such a high pedestal. You're back in the world of Elfhame, which I absolutely loved. Like I said, I absolutely loved the Cruel Prince trilogy. So like I really thought I was gonna love this. And now this one follows Oak, but it doesn't actually follow Oak. Like it does, but it doesn't. Oak is not necessarily the main character. He's the male main interest, but not necessarily the main character like I thought it was gonna be. The main character actually follows this other girl, Ren, who you do meet in the first trilogy. She is the little like princess essentially from the Court of Teeth. So if you've read the book, you should know who I'm talking about. She was just kind of boring. Granted, I didn't want the books to be so similar, especially with the female main characters. Jude was such like a badass main character girl, whereas Ren was just kind of there. She was kind of boring. She didn't really do much, and I didn't really like her. I didn't really like her that much. I was happy to be back in Elfhame, but truthfully, the book was just really disappointing to me. I think because I put it on such a high pedestal that I was just expecting more from it. And like, I genuinely thought that like I was going to be like itching to read the second book. Still haven't read the second book. And I read this one. I'm pretty positive I read that one in March. I ended up again rating this one a 3 stars. Like I said, I enjoyed it, but I just was so distracted all the time, and I was honestly kind of bored. Like the story just like wasn't moving at the same pace I thought it was going to. Anyway, let's move on. Hopeless by Elsie Silver. This is the last book in the Chestnut Spring series. I think I'm going to put it at liked but didn't love. I don't want to say that it was disappointing, because it wasn't, but at the same time, it kind of was. But I'm going to put it liked but didn't love, because I did actually enjoy to some extent, but I wasn't a big fan of the story itself, because the story was such a trope heavy story compared to like her other ones, where it was definitely like, okay, this is the implied trope, but it wasn't like this is the entire book. Like the entire book is based around this exact trope, and that's all that's pushing the story. So like that's something I didn't really like. Bailey herself, the main character girl, she was okay. I didn't mind her. Didn't like love her because like, I don't know. I also just thought like the age gap was like a little weird for me. In books, age gaps are usually fine and they work to an extent. I also just didn't think that this was the story that Beau was gonna get. You know, this was just not the story that Beau deserved. It just wasn't what I expected. I ended up rating this one a 4 stars, which now that I think about it, maybe like a 3.75 stars rather than a 4 stars. I liked it, but I didn't love it. Okay, The Love Hypothesis. Can't shut the fuck up about it. Another video is coming for this that you just haven't seen yet. I'm in the process of editing. 5 stars. 5 stars all around. This is my all-time favorite book. This is one, like the first like true 5 stars I think I ever read. I literally can never shut up about this book. Anyone asks me like, oh, like what book do you recommend? Especially if they're just kind of getting into reading, The Love Hypothesis. I always recommend The Love Hypothesis. Always. Let's just move on. I just absolutely love this book, and you're gonna get a whole video where I talk about my thoughts and feelings about this, so I don't really need to talk about it more. And that was my reread. So I reread this book, Happily Never After. This is honestly a toss between actually so disappointing and actually forgot I read this. I'm gonna put this actually forgot I read this though, because I really did forget I read this book. It was really nothing special. It did disappoint me. I love Lynn Painter. I loved Better Than the Movies by her. Granted, that is the only book I have ever read, so I know that her young adult is definitely way better than her adult romances. And it wasn't even a long book, and I felt like I literally just like, it took forever for me to get through, and I was like, why is this taking so long? The book was less than 300 pages. I was like, why is this taking so long? So I actually forgot I read this. Literally after I finished it, I was like, goodbye. Don't know what to do. I think I ended up rating this one a 3 stars. The concept was cool. Like, I kind of like the concept how they both go in and they object weddings, and they met because he actually went and objected her wedding, and then they just started, like, they became friends. But yeah, it wasn't anything special. It wasn't like anything to like really write home about. Anyways, let's move on. Heart of the Raven Prince. This is another one where I'm torn between literally can't shut up about and then enjoyed my time. I'm gonna put enjoyed my time though, because this wasn't like a 5 stars for me, but like honestly, almost right there. I think I gave this one a 4.5 stars. I absolutely loved Heart of the Raven Prince. I haven't been addicted to reading a book the way I was addicted to that one in so long. Like that feeling, I almost like forgot what that feeling was like. And then I started reading Heart of the Raven Prince and I was like, oh my gosh, this is what it's like to be addicted to a book again. This is what it's like to be addicted to a book again. So I absolutely loved this one. It's actually a Cinderella retelling. I think one of the reasons why I enjoyed it so much was because one, it's set in a fantasy realm, but it's such a like easy fantasy to understand and grasp, especially since you already know the story. Like you kind of already know the story of Cinderella. Such an easy, I don't want to say no brain fantasy, but almost like you didn't have to use so much brain power and you could just enjoy the story and the characters for what it was. Like a little bit of an enemies to lovers, which chef's kiss I love, and a bit of fake dating. Chef's kiss, another thing that I just love. I very much enjoyed my time while reading this. Put another category in here, it would be in the middle of literally cannot also shut up about it, as well as enjoyed my time, because it is a true like in the middle book. Next up, we have Reckless. I'm gonna put this one in literally cannot shut up about, because when it is brought up to me, I literally will go on and on and on about this book from how much I loved it. I absolutely loved it. Now, have I thought about it a lot since the last time I read it? I've thought about it a few times, but not like to the extent that I think about actually Heartless. Like Heartless, I was thinking Reckless was my favorite in the series, but actually I think it's Heartless. I also loved Theo though. I loved Theo. And I also loved Winter. Winter, like, in the past few books, you kind of get this like weird side of her. Almost think Nesta. If you've read ACOTAR, think Nesta. She gets this amazing character redemption in Reckless. Winter, I'm talking about Winter now. She just deserves way more love than what she's given, and I absolutely love Winter because we're all a little bit of a Winter at some times, you know. I definitely like feel like I really connected to Winter because I definitely give off the type of energy that Winter gives off sometimes. Well, I feel like in my videos you might not think that, because in my videos I can just be unapologetically myself, where in person I am a scared little girl and I give off really black cat energy, especially to people I don't know. I would definitely say I am a lot like Winter in that aspect, but I absolutely love this book. This book literally had me a roller coaster. It was a roller coaster, okay? She has never done that to me before. Elsie really put me on a roller coaster with Reckless, okay? Really put me on that roller coaster. This one is a accidental pregnancy trope, so if you don't like that, then you might not love this book as much. I personally do not mind the accidental pregnancy trope. It just doesn't bother me. I actually really like it. I feel like it just like, I don't know, people hate it because they just don't like that, like they would have never been together if they didn't have this certain situation of like being forced to be together, where it's like, well no, like because like, you know, you're being in a sense forced to be together, yes, but you found love within this person that you never expected to find love with, you know? Moving on. Powerless. Actually so disappointing. Hear me out. Hear me out. This book was just too hyped. Without a doubt, too hyped up for what it was. For someone who's never read The Hunger Games, and what other book was it? There was another book that I literally was like, too similar to The Hunger Games, especially for someone who had watched the movies. Like me, I've only watched the movies. I do plan to read the books. I just haven't yet, and I haven't like found them out anywhere. So anyways, not important. It was just too similar to The Hunger Games. Also, the beginning was like almost incredibly boring. Like I just thought it was super boring, the beginning. I mean, the ending, like the last like 25-30% of the book had me eaten out of its hand. Don't get me wrong. I was eating that up, okay? And I do plan on continuing the rest of the series. I do want to see where she's going to take it, but it was just too similar. Like, it's just so similar. And I was like, this is literally like the exact same thing. Like, I'm literally just reading. And granted, I have read books that are literally like the plot lines are very similar, blah, 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 and I eat them up, right? This one, I don't know. I just like the whole system was just too similar to other fantasies that I read where it was like, this is the same exact thing, you know? So I was very, very disappointed. I loved the banter though, and I did really like the two main characters. I did really like Kai and I really liked Peyton. It was just too hyped up for what it was, and I'm sorry. Actually, I'm not sorry, because I'm allowed to have opinions on books. Anyways, moving on. Did I say what I rated this? I rated this a 3.75. Oh wait, the other thing was Harry Potter. The other thing about this book was Harry Potter. At the end, there was something about it that I was like, this is just so Harry Potter. Giving Goblet of Fire. Anyways, moving on. We have Hooked by Emily McIntyre. I very much enjoyed my time while reading this. My first experience with a dark romance. And to be honest, this was the first one. So I could have started off very, very mild in a sense, which I'm going to assume yes, because this wasn't as dark as I thought it was going to be. Like, yes, there was some things in there that I was like, oh my God, but no, it was, yeah, just like not too dark. Like, it was dark, but not too dark, if that makes sense. But I very much enjoyed it. This is a Peter Pan, okay, in the beginning of the book, she literally makes a note saying this is not a retelling, this is a dark romance, these are the triggers, whole thing. But in a sense, it's a Peter Pan retelling. It follows James Barry, who is Hook, essentially, and Wendy, who is the main love interest. I don't want to say too much. I highly, highly recommend that you read it. What did I rate this? I don't remember. I gave this one a 4 stars, which, like I said, I very much enjoyed my time reading it. Very well deserved 4 stars. I highly recommend this book. Let's move on. Last book that we have is called Behind the Camera. I can't see that. Yes, Behind the Camera. So this is actually a 3rd book in the series. I actually received this as an ARC. I liked this one, but I didn't love it. Liked but didn't love. Okay, this was a single dad sports romance. I don't know what it is about football romances. They don't get me. They don't get me like a hockey romance does. I liked it, like I said, but I didn't love it. Single dad, she's the nanny. She also is like almost like a freelance photographer for the NFL, professional NFL player. And there is a bit of an age gap, but I also liked the connection and the friendship that the characters both had. But it was very weird, the relationship that they had, because there was like all of this like, nope, we're just friends. But like they weren't. Like they would do very coupley things, but then be like, oh no, we're just friends. And they would say that to each other. They'd be like, oh yeah, no, we're just friends. But then they would like be very coupley, they would talk very coupley, and just not admit that they wanted to be together because of like these rules that were set up prior. Granted, when you read the book, you'll understand some of them, and I don't want to give everything away. That's just something that I just like was very mixed on, because I'm like, okay, like if you're just friends, write them as literally just friends, like fighting this love and attraction that they have for each other, rather than, no, let's say they're just friends, but then be coupley in every other freaking fashion. You know what I mean? So yeah, I think I only ended up rating this one at 3.5 stars. I did like it, like I said, but I didn't love it. Nothing to like write home about. This is the 3rd book in a series. I think I was saying that. The first 2, genuinely, you do not need to read. I think the first book is like a novella technically, and then the second book is an actual book, like full-length book, follows some of the other characters. First book, I think, follows her dad. Second book follows the coach in this book, and then 3rd one follows her. I don't know if there's going to be another one. But anyways, yeah, that is all the books that I read in March and April. I would say I had a really good reading months. I don't know about you, but I would say I had a good reading months. Anyways, but yeah, that's basically it for this reading wrap up. I wanted to do something different with my reading wrap up this month, because 1, I didn't do it last month, and 2, I'm kind of bored with the way I've been doing them. They're, I think, kind of boring. So I wanted to switch it up, have a little bit of fun. I do have a plan for next month, so stay tuned for that, because I'm going to try and make it a little bit more fun. But yeah, that is it for this reading wrap up. I really hope you enjoyed me tier ranking every single book that I read. This was fun, actually. I really enjoyed it. I hope that tier ranking is still a thing, because I'm going to be doing this way more if it is. Anyways, but that is it for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to follow me on all my social medias, as well as subscribing to my channel. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.